Hi everyone, I'm Subhashini and I'm here today to talk about smart interactive dashboarding in Excel. And yes, we will look at a real world example and how to do it in earnest, but not in this video. In this video, I'm going to cover for you what are the basics if you want to create a great dashboard. So with this, let us start off. And in the next video that I do, you will actually go through the real world scenario. We would actually make a real life dashboard. In modern organizations, data is generated continuously through sales systems, HR platforms, finance, customers, digital channels. All these are creating data. But the raw data alone has very little value unless it can be converted into meaningful business insights. I think all of us understand this. And this is where dashboards become extremely important and they will never go out of fashion. So, the thing to understand here is that please understand that this is something which will never go out of fashion. You will always be in demand for being able to create a stunning dashboard. So, an interactive dashboard in Excel is not merely a collection of charts, graphs, and colorful visuals. A professionally designed dashboard acts as a decision support system. It helps organizations monitor performance, secondly, evaluate trends, thirdly, identify risks, and fourthly, align operational activities with strategic objectives. Many beginners assume that dashboard creation is merely about technical skills, but that is not true. You need to understand a lot many things. You need to know about organizational goals, KPIs, the data, and you will need to understand analytical thinking. Now, one of the things that frameworks, I should say, that has proved to be extremely useful for me as I've gone through my consulting, it has been this DCOVA and I framework. Okay, so we'll get into that. Just to recap, a dashboard bridges the raw data and strategic decision making gap, transforming the numbers into direction and insights into action. What it really does is three major things: monitors performance, identifies risks early, and drives action. Because what happens is sometimes teams, they are so caught up in everyday work that they forget to check that are they really meeting the objectives. The DCOVA and I framework is what I was speaking to you about, and this is an amazing framework which I follow. In fact, in my book also, it's called Learning Business Analytics in 6 Steps using DCOVA and I. So you can understand how important I find this framework. Now, what it is really is a checklist. It is a list of 6 steps which we should follow in any type of data oriented project where we want to convert data into actionable insights. The first is define, the second is collect, organize, visualize, analyze, and insights. Now, a good dashboard should help answer some of the business questions, and then only it bridges the gap between raw data and strategic decision making. So, when we talk about define, what we are really talking about is being able to understand what is the purpose of the dashboard. So, the first thing to understand is that different functions and different strategic objectives of a company can change, right? So this year it could be adding customers, next year it could be profit maximization, third year it could be cost minimizing cost. So these type of strategic objectives can change. So suppose in sales your strategic objective this year is increasing revenue, then their dashboard should monitor the pipeline conversions and the revenue. In HR, if this year you have decided to reduce attrition, then you must track the retention, engagement, and the hiring. Finance, if you're saying I want to improve profitability, what you really are saying is I will monitor costs, margins, and budgets. In operation, if you're saying I want to improve efficiency, maybe you're looking at analyzing productivity and delays. And in marketing, if you say you want to improve campaign performance, you might want to track the leads and the conversions, right? So, dashboards should align closely with the strategic goals of the department and the organization and your stakeholders. Okay, this alignment is central to the DCOVA and I framework. I hope this is clear. So the first step, if we were to look at it, is define. This is the first stage of the dashboard creation. And how do you go about it? You want to ask some questions like what business issue needs to be solved, who will use the dashboard, which KPIs matter most, and which decisions the dashboard should support. This create strategic clarity for what is your dashboard. Now you might say, okay, so can you tell me more in detail? And what I will tell you is strategic questions. Of course, we spoke what is the organization trying to achieve, which goals are most important, and what decisions should this dashboard support. But there should be some user oriented questions also. Who are the end users? Senior leadership, managers, analysts, operation teams, who? Then there should be some KPI questions. Which metrics indicate success? Which indicators require continuous monitoring? Which KPI align with the strategic objectives of this year for the team? Right. So, for example, if we were to look at an example, suppose we want to reduce customer churn. The dashboard objective may become create an interactive dashboard to monitor customer retention trends, identify high risk of churn customer segments, and support retention strategies. So, what are the KPIs? Maybe it is churn rate, customer retention, complaint frequency, subscription renewal, and customer lifetime value. Right? So, like this, it makes sense that before you jump into doing things with data, you actually define what it is that you seek to solve for. When we look at the collect and organize phase, in collect, what we want to do is to get the relevant data. One common mistake we make is thinking that excessive amounts of irrelevant data is better than having less clean data. This is not true. Having more data does not create better dashboards. Relevant, reliable, and clean data is more valuable than large quantities of information data which is not useful. Okay, so when you look at the dashboard data, you want to look at internal data sources like your ERP system, CRM system, finance system, maybe some Excel sheets. Then you want to look at some external sources, especially for benchmarking, industry benchmarks, economic indicators, market reports. So you might, so that you can set your benchmarks and what is your objective, right? Now there is an importance of data quality. Dashboards quality depends heavily on data quality. Poor data results in poor business decisions. Common the data problems include missing values, duplicate records, incorrect date formats, consistent naming conventions. In one database, it's called something customer number. Next, it's called customer ID. Right? So these type of things, outdated information and data entry errors. So it is important that the organization should establish proper data governance practices. When you're looking at data collection, of course, the best thing to do is standardization, where you have uniform date formats, standard KPI definitions, and consistent naming conventions, and also to try to reduce manual entry. Okay. You might in Excel want to use Power Query data imports and automated refresh systems to ensure that you are not the roadblock. In case you are not there, also the data import can happen and your dashboards can get refreshed. So, one thing, please understand, when you're working in an organization, it's important to understand data ownership. The governance questions, which include who owns the data, who validates the data, how frequently is it updated, who maintains the dashboard, these become important. Mhm. If we look at the next step in this process, so we've done define, collect, and organize, is the visualize one. And visualization, if you remember, is what we we most think when we are looking at dashboards, right? So in visualize, we must understand that visualization is not a decoration. It is to aim is to simplify the understanding and accelerate business decision making. Good visuals help users identify patterns, exceptions, trends, and risk quickly. Okay, so avoid using excessive colors, use the right type of charts to show the data. Like, you want to show trends, you want to put line chart, you want to do comparisons, you want to put bar chart, you want to do composition, you want to have a stack chart, so on and so forth. Okay. So we will discuss further about the different types of charts. And I know that a lot of you already know about this. There is also some visual hierarchy, like, the important info should stand up immediately. Critical KPIs on the top, trends in the middle, and detailed analysis below. And yes, your detailed analysis, you can be assured that AI will help you. So yes, we will cover how AI can be used to make this entire process of dashboarding much more effective. We will also cover slicers and how to create timelines, drop down menus, and dynamic charts. Okay. Now there are some principles of dashboard aesthetics like simplicity, that is avoid clutter and unnecessary visuals, and consistency, so fonts, colors, alignment, formatting. Use spaces to ensure that it is easy to read. You can use green, red, and amber for to show your traffic lights and say that are we meeting or not meeting some objectives. Okay. And then, of course, we have to think about the KPIs. The KPIs have to be relevant, measurable, and actionable. But just for you to understand that there are types of KPIs. So there's something called the lagging indicators, which measure past performance. For example, revenue, profit, and attrition. And there are some things called leading indicators, which tell you that what will be the future outcomes, like employee engagement, sales pipeline, and customer complaints. So do remember all of this as we go ahead. Now, when we look at making dashboards interactive, we covered this. We will look at slicers, timelines, drop-down menus, and dynamic charts. And I know that you will feel very, very happy that you are able to create an interactive dashboard which can be refreshed very easily. And every month, you don't have to spend time, effort, and energy, too much time, effort, and energy recreating it. Okay. Now, when we look at analyze, we have to understand that dashboards must support some analysis. They should not only display information. Now, here there is something which I want to tell you, that AI does help. Okay, so AI has been integrated through Copilot into Excel, and I can tell you that if you have created your dashboard, now doing the analysis and writing insights is not very difficult. However, there are some parts of analysis which we will have to do by ourselves, right? We should not only use AI to understand. Like, is the current performance normal or is it concerning? Are trends statistically expected? Right? Things like this. Now, there are different types of statistics which can be used. The most common one used with dashboards is descriptive statistics, which summarizes and explains the data behavior. It tells you what is the average value, median, or the 50th percentile value, minimum, maximum, variance, etc. And we will do all of this in more detail as we do the practicals. Okay. Now, it helps you to understand things like, is the business performance stable, improving, declining, volatile, or predictable? Then there is the concept of trend analysis. So you should be able to evaluate movement over time. Is the revenue increasing consistently? Is attrition reducing? Operational costs rising? Customer satisfaction improving? All of these would be things that can help. Variance analysis compares expected performance against actual outcomes. So actual versus target, budget versus spends, current year versus previous year, forecast versus actual. All of these can help identify performance gaps and inefficiencies. Then you have segmentation analysis. So it helps you break down the data against some dimensions like geography, product, customer segment, department, etc. And you might be able to understand that things like revenue growth may be overall strong but weak in one region, attrition may be concentrated within one department, things like this. Okay. Then you have the root cause analysis. So a high attrition may relate to manager quality, compensation, workload. Dashboard should support diagnostic analysis and not only reporting. Okay. So these are things, again, as I said, we will see all of this in real practice. Okay. And the whole idea becomes that weak dashboards would say something like attrition is 18%, but an insight driven dashboard would say something like attrition has increased by 4% over 2 quarters, primarily in mid level tech teams. Okay, the good KPIs would look at lagging indicators which measure the past performance, leading indicators which predict future outcomes, and smart KPI criteria would remain relevant, measurable, and actionable. We cannot give good value to our stakeholders if we don't, think of on these lines. Now, Excel's advanced toolkit, if we were to look at it, we have a few things which we will definitely look at when we are doing the real world data demo. The first is Power Queries and Power Pivots, pivot charts, conditional formatting, which highlight risk, exceptions, and performance thresholds, XLOOKUP and index matches for linking tables and putting the data together, VB and macros to automate repetitive tasks. So these are all things that will help us as we start looking at getting the data together and being able to generate insights. Now there are some common dashboard mistakes that we should avoid. Okay. First is, of course, too many KPIs. You have to focus on a few critical metrics. You can keep supporting sheets, but your main sheet in the dashboard should have only the critical metrics. Then we should avoid poor data quality, because bad data destroys trust. Then weak strategic alignment, that is something that every KPI should connect to a business objective. Overly complex visuals, simple dashboard outperform cluttered ones, no interactivity, static dashboards become obsolete, and no insight narrative. So these are all the things that can be seen as not having a great dashboard. I hope we are able to understand all of this. So what are we saying really? That in insights, we should focus on generating conclusions from the analysis. Insight oriented dashboards should help answer what do the numbers mean, which risks are emerging, which opportunities exist, which strategic actions may be required. The role of AI in dashboards, if we were to want to summarize that, is it helps in automated commentary, predictive analysis, pattern recognition, forecasting, natural language summaries, and scenario analysis. So AI will be something which will enable you to create an awesome dashboard. If you look at the most important principles within dashboarding, the first is relevance. So the dashboard must remain relevant to business needs, and it has to solve some real world problems. Okay, so that is something that we must not forget. Now, there can be difference in dashboard design for different users. Like if you look at executive dashboards for CEOs, etc., you might want to put strategic KPIs, high-level trends, and organizational performance. You might put minimal operational details. They really don't want to know what happened in day-to-day running. But if you're looking at operational dashboards, you want to focus on daily monitoring, process efficiency, and exception and alerts. More granular information you want to put. Analytical dashboards focus on deep analysis, statistical evaluation, and trend investigation. They are used by analysts and data teams, strategy teams. So just remember that different types of teams may need you to make slightly different dashboards. Okay. Again, to just summarize, Power Pivot supports data modeling in large data sets. Conditional formatting helps you highlight risks and exceptions visually. Pivot charts help you enable dynamic visual analysis. XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, and index matches are useful for advanced calculation and linking tables. VB and macros can automate repetitive dashboard processes. I'm sure you know a few of them. The ones which you don't know, or how, if you feel that you can't use all of them together, that we will do okay in the practical, the next video. Storytelling through dashboards, when you look at it, is something that most people must be saying, that a good dashboard should tell a business story. So what does it mean? It should answer what is happening, why it's happening, and what should we do next. So storytelling telling improves the strategic communication and decision making in the dashboard. So when you look at it, dashboards are not static. They continuously evolve as business priorities change. We spoke about strategic objectives, right? Generally, strategic objectives actually change every year. KPIs relevant today may become less important tomorrow. So you should review your dashboard periodically with the business team. Ask them, are there a few things which you don't think are important any longer? Are there some new things that you feel we should add? Okay. So to conclude, creating an interactive dashboard in Excel is far more than a technical exercise. It combines so many aspects, including a process like DCOVA and I. The dashboard fundamentals remain rooted in one point, which is that you have to create outputs that guide organization towards strategic objectives. Whether it's used in HR, finance, sales, anywhere, dashboard should remain relevant, analytical, actionable, and strategically aligned. Excel continues to remain one of the most powerful and accessible tools for interactive dashboards. And ultimately, dashboards are not just reporting tools, they are strategic management systems that transform data into direction and insights into action. So, with this, I will close out this video and I will hope to see you in the next video where we will actually do a real life dashboarding, interactive dashboarding in Excel using AI. Okay, see you very soon.